Hi, I've decided to create a video on newborn feeding, specifically breastfeeding, and supporting the breastfeeding reflexes and mother's milk supply for those parents who want to breastfeed their babies, and which also includes pace responsive bottle feeding, pumping and expressing, and how to know your baby is getting enough in those early days. So I hope that you find this really useful. We will have a Q&A session shortly after this video screening, and I look forward to connecting with you and providing you with information and support so that you can feel empowered in the decisions that you make to feed your newborn. My name is Mel. I'm from the founder of All Things Birth and Beyond, and I have been supporting and working with family expectant and new families since 2004, so a long time. What I thought would be most useful is for us to kind of just kick off with talking about newborn infant feeding reflexes. So the reflexes that every newborn is born with. So I have a doll here to help me show you a bit of what I'm saying. So for all the visual learners out there, I hope you find this useful. So when a baby is born, immediately after birth, so long as everything is medically safe and okay, the baby will be placed directly onto their mother's chest in a tummy to tummy position. So what scientists have found is that when a baby is placed in this tummy to tummy position, all the other feeding reflexes that a baby is born with are triggered and stimulated, which is really, really exciting. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is the stepping or the plantar reflex, which is found on the underside of the baby's foot. And what that does is, so if you just imagine, I'm leaning back a little bit, so my body is actually supporting the weight of the baby. What happens is the baby will start to step up the mother's abdomen, and sometimes if a mother has had some painkillers or has been exposed to various medications during the labor and birth process, these reflexes might not be as noticeable, because sometimes they pass through the placenta and can impact on how alert your baby is. But for babies who have had an unmedicated, unassisted birth, these reflexes are quite prominent. So every baby has them. We might just not be able to always see them depending on the kind of labor and birth that the mum and baby have experienced. Okay, so the first reflex is the stepping reflex, and what that does is it helps the baby to move up the mother's chest towards the breast. The next reflex I wanted to share with you is the kneading or the finger knitting reflex. So what the baby will do is it will actually get its little hand and it will start to do this kind of kneading action. So if you can think of a cat or a kitten who jumps up on your lap, they will often do that kneading. Human babies do it too. And what that's doing is it's just massaging the mother's breast tissue to say, hey, wake up. So there's stimulation there to say, I'm going to be asking for you to release milk soon. So pretty incredible. Another thing that a newborn baby will do when placed in this position, which can be a bit of a shock if you're not expecting it or you're not aware of it, is that they can start to do this kind of head bobbing or head banging kind of behavior. And what that does is it stimulates the mother's nipples to become erect, which supports its efforts to looking for where it needs to attach onto the breast, the nipple. So the area around the nipple is called an areola, and so during pregnancy, a person's areola will usually become darker, and that's useful and helpful for the newborn to see more easily. So the baby's been doing this head bobbing, they've been doing the kneading or the finger knitting onto the breast tissue. They've stepped up the chest towards the breast. They've made the nipples erect. They can see the areola is dark. Then what they start to do is they'll start to turn their head from side to side. And what babies have is they have something called a rooting reflex on the side, either side of their faces. And if you tickle a newborn's cheek gently, what you'll notice is they will immediately turn towards whatever is tickling their face and try and latch onto it. So this rooting reflex helps them be guided towards the nipple so that they can move over to the nipple, tilt their head far back. And when they tilt their head far back, that'll encourage their mouth to do the wide open gape. The chin will come into the chest first, and then the top lip will anchor over the top of the areola, and they will latch onto the breast like that. So that is a very brief introduction to the inborn, newborn breastfeeding reflexes that all human babies are born with, that supports them in finding the breast and attaching onto the breast for feeding. So throughout this series of videos, I'm going to be sharing with you information on tongue function. I've spoken briefly about the baby's reflexes. We're going to be talking about natural instincts, pain and comfort, ensuring pain and comfort in the mother, and baby's position and attachment, and how that can impact on a mother's comfort, and maintaining a mother's milk supply, which is really, really important, and as well as hand expressing, pumping, and pace responsive bottle feeding in the event that a baby requires some support with feeding, if there are challenges around efficient milk transfer. So I look forward to sharing this information with you and seeing you on a Q&A really soon.